Hey guys, how you doing? It's Damien, and this time we're talking about names. Now, names are a very personal thing. There's like no two names might not flow with you, and there's like different ways people arrive to their chosen name. Now, assuming that you've decided to transition, whether or not that requires hormones, then there's the event of changing your name from people calling you your birth name or whatever name they used to go by to a new name that you need to choose for yourself, or you let somebody else choose for you. And there lies the question, what name are you going to go by now? Where am I going to go from here? Where do I get my name? Now, for some people, it could be really simple. They just already found a name that they like already, and they just go with it, and there's like no doubt they just go with it. Or their name is already unisex, and they have like no dysphoria about it, and they just keep their name and just change everything else that might be inherently feminine if they're trying to go be as masculine as possible to pass. But for other people, it could be a little different. Like, it could be a little more difficult. Maybe there's like a list of names they already like, and you can't seem to choose. Or you might have like no idea where to start. And for me, what I found that really helped was writing down some criteria that a name must fulfill. Like for me, for example, my name had to be something that is not very common, so Alex, Michael, or John were out of the question. It had to be something that is pronounced easily in my language, Spanish. So names like Skylar, Chase, or Jaden, or all those names that are very popular among the transmasculine community were definitely out. I mean, I could stand to hear it in English, but it had to be something that that I won't cringe at every time I hear it in Spanish. So those kind of names were out. And then there was a name that's basically short, to the point, and it's not, feminine and can be taken unisex. It basically had to be like a name that was masculine, no questions asked, and all that. And then the next name was something that I wouldn't mind hearing every day, which Damien seemed to like come out of somewhere. At first I went by Marcel, and I would have stuck with that too, but since my older brother's name is Marcelo, I had to pick something else, and there was also somebody else with the name Marcel Copperson, so to avoid confusion, I had to change my name. So I thought about it long and hard, and I was watching a movie, which was The Omen, and I thought of the name Damien. I love the name, it sounds awesome, it just sounds nice, has a nice ring to it with my last name, Coppersan. So Damien was chosen, and there was like different ways to spell it, but I just chose the French spelling Damien, because in English it's with the O instead of the E, and in Spanish it's the A with the tilde on top of it, but I just went for Damien. So Damien was born, and I stuck with it since, and I even had my documents reflecting that. So it was nice. It took a little soul searching. I mean, changing your documents was hard enough, so I had to like be really dead set on it. And then there's also the choice of picking out your middle name. I just pick Alex because my original middle name, which I tend to hear around my family, which was only my old middle name was basically only considered masculine in one country, which is in Italy. So I had to change that. And my parents just recently had this whole meeting thing. I'll talk about that in my 7-month on T video. And now they're calling me Alex, which is my middle name, Alexander. Or I guess in Spanish we'll call it Alejo. So they call me that now because I find that it's going to be easier for them to transition from using my old middle name, which started with an A, to Alex, which also starts with an A. And it's been proving true so far. I mean, they're having an easier time correcting themselves. So that's good. So to the English community and everybody else, I am Damien, but in my family, I'm Alex. It seems like two identities, and I got so used to that whole associating my middle name with family and first name with everybody else in the outside world that I'm just continuing that so I don't lose track of it. So that's basically how I found my name. You don't have to follow my exact criteria, but for me, that's how I narrowed down the names. I mean, Other names that I thought of was, let's see, besides Marcel and Damien, I thought of Eric. I also thought of Casper because of the Friendly Ghost. I don't know where Eric came from. I think it because I had another friend with that name and it sounded cute. And another name I also thought of was Adam, but that didn't seem like something that would fit me. And also it was biblical, so, and I'm not a religious like that, so I said no, Adam. And then there was another name. What was the name of it? David. But that was kind of like a really generic name that I knew a lot of people with the name David, so there was gonna be some mix-up. So I had to pick something that, hence why I said in my criteria it had to be something that not a lot of people had that name. So like names like Michael, John, and David, and all those other trans names had to be gone out of the way. No Alex or anything, only as my middle name. So that's basically how I chose my name. And what I advise for people who are still trying to try out names and everything is to go on these websites. I'm going to put them in the description box and start like writing down lists and start writing them off. And when in doubt, you could possibly ask your parents if you parents are somewhat supportive or at least tolerating your transition and they want to say in your names, and also you can ask for their opinion and somewhat take that into account. And I would have done this if my mom wasn't so picky with names. The only name that she really liked was Adrian, and I was just like, no, Adrian does not sound like a name for me. I mean, it might have, I don't know, but what's hilarious about the whole thing is Adrian's the name of an Antichrist character in Rosemary's Baby, and Damien's also the name of another Antichrist character from The Omen, so that was a little interesting. So anyways, I put some links in the description box. You could go check that out. Don't forget to write down like your criteria and start narrowing down your names according to it. It's like a filter. That's the kind of the technique I use. Like I wrote some criteria down. I looked at the names and see if they kind of fulfilled it, and then I just start making a final decision, start testing them out with some friends. Hopefully they're supportive and they don't mind like switching up names and all that, and see what flows. And be sure to make sure that the name you chosen is the one, because that's basically what you're going to be called, especially in legal papers and all that documents and stuff. So, and it's kind of costly to change it more than once, and it might give you a hassle if you change it more than once. So be very sure in your decision and just make it personalize it and all that. Oh, and before I forget, some people like to switch up the spelling and use like very unorthodox spelling, which you're free to do, but if you want to be stealth, and I would really go against that because it might call attention to some people. So if you want to be stealth, I would go with generic names or generic spellings of names. Don't go like out of the box and start using fantasy names and all that. But you're free to do so if you're not afraid of getting kind of like looks from other people and somewhat suspicion, especially when trans men are getting a lot more visibility these days. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. So peace out.